Oh, hey y'all, Fat Man Outdoors. Hey, if you liked the video, click that like button and click subscribe so that you'll get notifications whenever we post new content. Appreciate you watching. This is the Fat Man. I'm gone. Hey y'all, Fat Man Outdoors. I want to talk to y'all today about something. That was another viewer comment. You see a lot of people doing these on the internet now, and a lot of people doing videos on YouTube about go bags. Okay, I have one myself. A viewer asked me about that, and I do have one I keep packed. And I wanted to go over with you what I've got in mine, and also very important, I want to talk to you about the bag. But the first thing I want to show you, if I've got a situation where I have got to leave, I got to get away from my house, my family's in danger, we got to get somewhere, and you never know, some crazy blue hat people or something's doing whatever they got to do. But you're going to need some essentials. Okay, you're going to need the ability to make shelter. You're going to need the ability to make fire. You're going to probably need the ability to defend yourself or hunt. So a lot of those things are pretty hard to work into a small bag that's not going to weigh 90 pounds, because I can carry this one, weighs about 17 pounds with everything that's on it right now, and it's a shoulder bag. That's a much easier system to deal with, I think, than with a standard backpack, because you can carry it in a way that you can, if you need something out of it, you can slide it around to the front, unzip the pocket, get out what you need, zip it back up, slide it right back out of your way. You don't have to take it off, set it down, and do all that. And not to mention, if you really want to add weight to it, it does have a place in the back you can put a plate. But it's, going to be a small plate, so the Lord have to be with you in order for the plate to be worth much value to you anyway. But anyway, let's get into this so this video ain't going to be too long. My first thing that I'm going to show you on this that I keep on mine, and it stays strapped on there, that is my Kel-Tec. Okay, now my Kel-Tec Sub 2000, that stays on there. That is my, if we got to get out of here gun, and it is my personal home defense gun, so that everybody in the house knows where this pack is. Everybody in this house knows how to unsnap it and get it out of there. Everybody in this house knows there's 17 rounds in the mag. All they need to do is open it up, pull the bolt back, let it go, and they're ready to go. And then there are also some surprises for it on the inside of this bag we're going to get to. I like the pistol caliber carbines. You've heard me talk about it in previous videos. These are really hard to beat for personal defense, home defense, because they're not super high powered. They're not going to kill 3 or 4 people down the street. They're going to go through everybody's house in the neighborhood if you have to use it. And they're small enough, light enough that you can carry them, you can get them in your vehicle easy, you can get out of town with them, and you can go do what you got to do. But that is my number, that's my first thing on there. And you're going to notice on the back here, I've turned into Rambo. I do have a large, I think is a good quality survival knife. This thing did have one of the little compass doodads in the handle. The first thing I did was pop that out and throw it away, because I'm going to tell you right now, if you rely on one of those, you're going to get yourself in a bad spot. Get yourself a real compass, okay? Because I have seen those be as much as one full direction, 90 degrees out, okay? So don't trust that. Now, inside of this one does have some waterproof matches. It's got the standard fishing line stuff I've put down in there. I put down in more sinkers, more hooks. It's got a few other things in there, some sewing needles, stuff like that we've put in there, and some thread. You never know what you might need that for. This one does have a pretty decent blade on it that holds a really good edge. It does have a really nice saw in the back. We have we put this thing through some bruisal tests, man, to make sure it worked. And this is a pretty good knife. I actually bought this knife at Hank Williams Jr. store down in Tennessee, and it was. I like the way it looked because it doesn't have a plastic handle. It has a really good aluminum furled handle. It has a great big guard on the front, and I really like that. I like the way the little knife worked, and it was something that was not. It wasn't expensive. I think it was like 20 bucks for that knife. That's a very, very, very good piece of kit. All right, now on the outside over here, if you notice, there's a couple of snap-on packages. One of these has got a utility knife in it, not a fold-up pocket knife, not a big bladed pocket knife, a utility knife. This is a razor knife. This is going to be something that something happens. It's got 2 edges on it. They're going to be super sharp, great for skinning, great for cutting rope, stuff like that, whatever you need, and they're very handy. And these little pouches, they are not Velcro, they snap, so you don't have to worry about them coming open. Now, right above that, I think, is one of the more important tools that you're going to get. Now, this Gerber utility knife, it's got pliers on it, knife blades, screwdrivers, all kinds of stuff. It's, you know, it's Gerber, it's good quality stuff. You'd be amazed how much use you can get out of one of these in a situation where you're not around any other stuff and you need something. But the utility knife is something that they're invaluable. I mean, you've got so many tools in such a small little area. It's amazing what all you got in there. Now, I'm going to show you some stuff we've got in the pouches on this, and you ain't going to believe all the stuff that's in this, okay? Alright, there's poncho. There's 3 clear ponchos. Okay, now these are big full-size adult ponchos. So if you need to use these, if you're making a lean-to shelter and you can put these, tie one of them down over the shelter, you got a 100% guaranteed waterproof shelter. Or if you're traveling, if you're walking and it's raining, these are great. And even if it's not raining, but it's cold out, you can wear one of these and it'll retain your body heat, keep you warm. Now in here is bags of just standard Band-Aids. Alright. Now here's something. Most people don't know about this unless you've done wound care or you've had a wound and had to have it cared for long term. These are prep pads. Now what these do is you wipe these on your skin and they leave a film that's kind of like rubber. It cleans and antiseptics your skin, but what it leaves is that film so that when you go to put a Band-Aid on it or a bandage if it's a bigger wound, it will not come off. It'll stick. You let this dry for about 30 seconds, and then when you put that bandage on it, the adhesion to it will last a long. You'll have to peel it back off. It won't come off. So even when you're out walking, sweating, maybe it's wet out, this stuff will absolutely help you keep those things on. Now, inside of here, this is a small bottle of wound pack. Now what this is a long strip that's, I don't know how long they are, 5 yards long, so it's 15 feet long. And what you can do if you have a puncture wound or a wound that's a gaping wound, that's a big gash, you can actually put this stuff down in some iodine and get it wet with it and then squeeze it out and then fill that wound up, and that'll keep stuff from getting in there, and it promotes the tissue to grow back. Believe me, if you've ever had a big wound, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, now here's some medical tape. You need good medical tape. I recommend get 3M. That's the good stuff. That's what this is, and it's wide tape. It's not the narrow tape. This stuff, it'll stick really good and it'll last for a long time. Ace bandages. I keep a couple size ace bandages. There's a 4-inch in here and there's a 2-inch in here. Make sure you've got some of those. You never know. You turn an ankle over, sprain a wrist or anything. Now, Ziploc bags. That's all this is, empty Ziploc bags. You never know when you're going to need these. You can put stuff in these if you've had to open something and you want it to stay clean, but you didn't use all of it. You can put the container down in this, zip it up, and it'll protect your stuff. Go to the next pocket. Now, here is sunscreen. Real good stuff, SPF 30, so it's good for anybody you want to put it on, whether or not it's a small child that you don't want that can't handle much sun at all, or if it's an older adult that can handle sun but they don't want to get burned. That works either way. Now in here is fabric Band-Aids. Guys, I recommend if you're going to buy Band-Aids, get good brand Band-Aids. Get the Band-Aid brand. Get them fabric so they're flexible, so that when they get wet, they don't just fall off. Get something that you're going to use in the field, and it's going to work for you the same way you need it to work. All right. Now let's get in this one. Now in here is a lot of my liquid stuff. I keep that on the outside pockets of the bags, so that if something happens and we get a puncture in one of these, it's not going to affect anything we've got inside of here, because there's a lot more stuff inside. We ain't even got to the main part of the bag, not even close. Now here is a saline wound wash. Okay, now this is cool. This is saline water. It's made to wash out dirt and stuff from wounds and clean them. But the cool thing about it is it's in an aerosol can, so it's under pressure, so it'll spray out on a wound. Pretty neat little stuff. Now here is some triple antibiotic ointment. You need that's a must, in my opinion. Okay, now here is some antibacterial hand soap. If you've got a situation where there's a couple of you, or even you're by yourself and you've got injury, you've got a wound, you need to clean your hands before you deal with that wound. There you go. Wash your hands. All right, now here is a small bottle of hydrogen peroxide. And you're going to say that's pretty neat to have in there, that little size. But I'm going to tell you what, I struggled with this decision more than anything that I did. The whole purpose of a go bag is, more than likely, I won't be able to go back in them for a long time. So I want containers of stuff that's going to be big enough to do what I got to do. So with these small containers like this, if you're going to use them in your go bag, make sure you understand that's a limited amount, very limited amount. So use it very limitedly. Use it in a way that you're going to have more of it down the road. Don't use it if you don't have to, and when you have to use it, only use just enough. Don't pour enough in a wound and let it run down your leg. Okay. Now here's something else that's pretty good to have in there: burn spray. That is very important also, because if you have to leave your home, and say in this area, if you have to hit the woods at night, you're going to have to build fires to cook, to stay warm. So it's going to be a chance of people getting their fingers burnt or embers getting on them, and you don't want an infection. Burn spray, awesome, stops the pain, and it's a good antibiotic. All right, now let's get into the big section. All right, now what I've got here is a pack of Bic lighters. Don't go buy the cheap lighters, buy good lighters. This was like $3 at Walmart for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Bic lighters. You can start 1,000 fires with this many lighters if you do it correctly. But don't rely on waterproof matches. If this gets wet, you can turn it upside down, rub it on your pant leg a few times, and let it air out for a minute. It's going to light. Okay. Now, fire starting stuff. This is fire starter blocks for indoor fires or outdoor fires, either one. This stuff right here will work great to start campfires. It's in a great big block, okay, so it's a lot of stuff here. So what I would recommend, if you're going to use it, it's kind of mushy, you know, it's not hard. Take a knife, cut it in quarter, okay. Take about 1 inch at a time and use that to start your fire with. Take one of these Ziploc bags, put this whole container back down in that, zip it up, and use it over and over and over. You can start several fires with that. Now, signaling device, all right, simple boat whistle. I'm not going to blow it because I'm sure y'all know what a whistle sounds like. Put one of these in that bag, because you break an ankle and you can't walk, or you've somehow or another managed to roll off trail, or you're not where somebody's going to be walking, but you might be in an area where somebody's out checking wildlife cameras or plowing a field or something, and you hear a vehicle or something and you start hammering on this thing. If somebody's got a window down driving by, or if they get out of their vehicle, they're going to hear that. If they're out on a tractor, they're going to hear that, and more than likely going to investigate it, and it may very well save your life. And also, a lot of wild animals don't like stuff like that. If you try to make yourself as large as you can, put that whistle in your mouth and start screaming with that thing, and a lot of times black bears, mountain lions, bobcats, coyotes, they don't like that. They don't like something that's like crazy loud and scares them. They'll get away from you. Now, another thing, thermal blankets. They only, when I went to Walmart the other day and looked, they only had one of these hanging on the wall, hanging on the shelf. That's terrible. They need to stock these, man. People need to have these. These things are awesome. I don't know if you've ever been under one of these. If you've ever been in a natural disaster where the people from the Red Cross and stuff like that and FEMA came, you more than likely have had one of these to get under if it was colder weather. These things are unbelievable. They're like, they're crazy thin, they're tough, and you wrap one of these around you and it's 20 degrees outside, you're going to get uncomfortably warm inside of it because it doesn't let anybody heat out. And if you watch some videos that are on the internet, you can learn how to make a camp barrier with these and build a small fire and use this as a reflective agent to push that fire back into your shelter, and you can make a shelter that's very, very comfortable in extraordinarily cold temperatures, unbelievably cold temperatures. You can make it where it's very comfortable as long as you can make fire and you got one of these and you can hang it up to reflect that heat from that fire back into you. Very handy item. Another thing, hand warmers. Now, this is another deal with the Ziploc bags. Hand warmers work for about 8 hours, but if you don't need them for 8 hours, stick them down in one of them bags, roll off all the air that you can, squeeze out every bit of air in there that you can, zip it up. They'll shut down as long as they don't got good oxygen. Once they shut down, they'll stay there for a long, long time. And next time you need them, you can just open that back up, shake it a few times, put it right back in business, and it'll start working again. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people get these out, use them for an hour, then throw them away. They're still, you could, like I say, you can put them in a Ziploc bag, push that air out, zip them up, and they're still just as good as it was when you opened them. Now, also in here, I have a Ziploc baggie full of nitrile gloves. There's probably 30 pairs of nitrile gloves in there. You say, why in the world will you need gloves, rubber gloves, and a go bag? Look here, man. I've seen people get hurt bad trying to get away from situations. You get cut, you get puncture wounds, God forbid you got a bullet wound. You need to be able to deal with that person's injuries and not put them in a worse situation than they already was by getting them infected by stuff that may be on your hands or in the environment. These come right out of a sterile package, right into this Ziploc bag, and that's where they stay. Now, in here, also got some big wound patches. These are 3x3 wound patches, a bunch of them. I don't know, there's probably 200 of those in there at least. And they're the thicker ones. They're like, almost like a cotton mat, but they're actually a gauze pad. Now, also in here, I have gauze sponges. Okay, and that's a full pack of those. Again, if you've ever done any kind of wound care, stuff like that, you've been around these. Now, I've got also in here petroleum jelly. This is something that a lot of people don't understand. This needs to be in your go bag. It'll help you so much starting fires. If you run out of your fire starting stuff, it'll help you with chapped lips. It'll help you with dry hands. It'll help you with making your shoes waterproof. It'll fix a leak in a tent a lot of times. Handy stuff. Petroleum jelly, very cheap. You can buy a bottle this size, usually for about $1. You can get them very, very reasonable. Now, bandages. I wanted to show you, I've got a bunch of these in here. I'm not going to drag them all out because then I just have to put them all right back in there. But what I've got in here is I've got big bandages, 6x6, okay? Then I've got, these are a 4x4, okay? And these are a composite bandage. They're all like flexible, okay? And this one is a 2x2, okay? And they're all really, really good bandages, and especially if you use those prep pads. If you have to put one of these on, it ain't coming off. You have to peel it off. It'll stay in there, water on it, whatever, doesn't matter. It'll stay. All right, next thing. Okay, finger bandages and knuckle bandages. They're very handy. A regular Band-Aid. If you've got a wound on the tip of your finger, everybody knows you got to put the one around the end of your finger, and then you got to put one around your finger. It's on your thumb, and you got to put two around it because most of them aren't long enough. With these knuckle and fingertip bandages, that they have those little legs. You put it on the end there and wrap it around, and they usually stay really well. Now, in here is something that a lot of people would say this is questionable. Okay. But this is basically a stitch and suture and kit that's almost like a surgical kit. Okay, it's got surgical scissors in it, surgical tweezers. It has needles and stitching string. It has the pad bandages. It has the see-through bandage covers. This is Trauma 101 right here in this bag. If you've got anybody that's in your family that's a nurse or ever worked in the doctor's office very much, they've seen that kind of stuff and they know what it's about. And it's something that if you need it, nothing else will work. Okay, now here's something that is a very handy thing. This is a pack that's got 2 Q-tips in it, and they're 5 inches long. Now the reason why you want the long ones is because they'll do the job of the little short Q-tip. But if you've got a puncture wound or something and you've got to use some of that packing material, you need something that's long to push that packing material down in that wound. These will do it, and they're sterile, so you ain't got to worry about causing a bigger problem than you got out of. Now here is just a large white plastic bag. Okay, I'm going to tell you something about this large white plastic bag. It's waterproof. So if I get somewhere and I don't have a container to pack water in, and I found a small stream or a little runoff on some rocks or something like that, I can always use this bag. I can put some water in it, I can pack it back to the camp, and I can try to figure out a way to boil it or heat it and sterilize that water and make it to where I can use it. Very handy to have, very handy item. Let's see what else we got. There's some more Q-tips. Alright, now, there's some more, couple of Q-tips in there. Alright, now here's something also in this bag that I keep in here. These are 32 round magazines for my pistol caliber carbine Kel-Tec Sub 2000 9mm. There's 3 of these in there. There's 3 of them in there, and they're 32 rounds per mag. So now I've got 96 rounds of ammunition in my go bag at all times, and I've got 17 rounds in the weapon that's strapped to the bag ready to go. So I'm in good shape for ammo, alright? I mean, I've got everything that I need. Guys, and this little bag, I want to talk to you real quick about this bag. You buy these bags at Walmart, made just like this, and they're 27, 28 bucks. You buy them off Amazon, they're 22, 23. I bought this bag, and it's built solid, got really good zippers, strong zippers, got good overflaps off of Temu. $9. $9, and put all this stuff in this little bag, so that if you ever have to leave and you got to get out now and you need the stuff that you need to survive, all the way from fire starting to water purification to wound care to shelter building to personal defense, sustenance, hunting, whatever you need, it's in this kit. And all you got to do is you run by, is grab this handle and get out the door. That's all you got to do. Get to your vehicle and throw it in the vehicle and leave, or if you can't get to the vehicle, just head out wherever you got to go. If you know a situation is about to happen and you need to get out, go. Just go. Get your bag, get your family, and get the heck out of town, man. There ain't no sense hanging around. And like I said, on the back of this, it does have an area where you could put a plate or a water bladder, either one. A lot of people put water bladders in it. I may end up adding a water bladder to mine, but I kind of lean away from the water bladder thing because it's going to make me want to put water in there and leave it, and I don't want to do that. I only want to leave this house with fresh water if I'm going to leave. That's why I've always got cases of drinking water sitting close to the front door, stuff like that. So something happens and we got to go, we got to get out right now, we can all grab 2 or 3 bottles of water, stick them in our pockets, and we've got water containers. If we need to gather more water later, you can easily use a string and make you a tripod and hang it high above your campfire, and even boil water to purify water in a water bottle. It can be done. I've done it. Look on YouTube. You'll see videos of people doing it. It's not that hard. It's just you just have to really pay attention to what you're doing, but you can do it. And most of the time, you take a good bottle, you can make it last 2 or 3 times. You know, some of these cheaper water bottles are real thin ones that real crinkly sounding. I don't know that you get 2 or 3 uses out of them, but if you pay attention to what you're doing with that tripod and just put it low enough to where it'll start heating up, you can get 1 use out of them. But guys, stuff like this is super important, super duper important to have. It's a crazy world, man, and this is unfortunately an election year. And what happens in an election year is people become idiots. I want my family to survive. I want my family to be here next year. I want to be here next year. And I'm not going to let people endanger that if I can help it. But I'm not going to help it if I don't at least try to prepare myself. This is a great way to do that. Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I've been looking so much forward to getting time to pulling out my go bag and showing y'all what I use in it. And it's awesome. It was awesome putting this thing together when I started working on it a few months ago, when I ordered this new bag, because I had an old bag that was bad shape and had all my stuff in it. But when I did this, it was so much fun, and I was sitting thinking this is going to be awesome to explaining this to everybody, but it's also going to suck because now I've got to put it all back. But it's got to be done. All right, guys, this is Fat Man. I'll see y'all in the next video. I'm gone. Hey, y'all. Appreciate you watching this video. Hope to see you in the next one. This is Fat Man. I'm gone.